Look, you listen to Rick Romney talk about China, but judge us by our actions. Ladies and gentlemen, President Obama and I will not stand by and let China break international trade laws and hurt Ohio workers. It's just that basic. And the president said in the second debate, Romney is awful sketchy in what he said. And as I'm reported now, I don't like to correct the president, but I would suggest he was wrong. Romney has been extra sketchy. That's the problem. They told us it was coming. I just didn't know when it was coming. But as they say, you know it when you see it. Folks, the stakes of this country are too high. They're too important. It's time for people to stand up and say what they believe in. The president has done exactly that. And the best I can say about opponents is, starting at their convention, the thing that they have that we Catholics call an epiphany. They discovered the middle class. It was an amazing thing. They hadn't talked about the middle class for I don't know how long, and all of a sudden, the middle class, and it just popped up. And now they say they understand and they value, and they have the same value sets of the middle class. Well, my dad used to have an expression. When someone come up to him, his name was Joe, and say, Joe, let me tell you what I value. He'd look at him and say, Charlie, don't tell me what you value. Show me your budget, and I will tell you what you value. Let's take a look at the budget. That Ryan budget, and that's the reason he was picked by Romney. He's the new intellectual guy on the right, and he's a smart guy. I'm not being facetious. Intellectual guy on the right. The Ryan budget has already passed the House of Representatives over the strong objection of Marcy. Blocked in the Senate, but it's already passed. So we know what it contains. And Romney said, had he been president when it passed, he would have signed it. So this is not about wondering what they do. They've already tried to do it. Number one, on taxes. They keep insisting on keeping the tax cut. We want to extend the tax cut to the middle class permanently. They're holding it hostage and saying, we'll not let you do that unless you continue the tax cut for the very wealthy. Let me give you an idea what that means. And this is, again, these are factual. This is fact. They want to keep a $500 billion, $500 billion tax cut that goes to 120,000 families. Of all of America, 120,000 families will get another $500 billion tax cut. And on top of that, with their $5 trillion tax cut, they talk about leveling all the playing field and all that tax cut will add another $250,000 a year tax break to those 120,000 families. But they say it's revenue neutral. Romney says, no. This $5 trillion deal is not going to cost anything. It's going to eliminate all these deductions and exceptions wealthy guys take care of. Well, first of all, you students or students of economics, go check, Google it. There aren't that many exceptions. There aren't enough. But and I asked him in my debate, and he was asked in the last debate by the moderator, name me one exception for the wealthy folks that you would eliminate. Name me one. They haven't named a single one. The only loophole they say they will not change is the loophole that allows Governor Romney to pay 14% on $20 million a year. You saw that ad. You saw the interview on 60 Minutes. When asked, is it fair, Governor, for you to pay only 14% on $20 million and a guy making 50 grand pay more, he said, yes, that's fair. So, folks, the only way you can make their process, their new tax cut work, and no wonder they're running away from it, outside experts have pointed out there's only one way. You've got to raise taxes. This is from the tax policy. You've got to raise taxes on families with children by $2,000 a year, and you have to gut Medicaid, bring down the cost drastically, and decimate Medicare, bring down Medicaid, and you have to walk away from education. That's why they're doing all this stuff. They're not bad guys. They're not out there trying to hurt seniors. They're not out there trying to hurt education. But it's not a priority for them. They never talk about it, in case you haven't noticed. It's not a priority for them. So in order to pay for these massive tax cuts and another $2 trillion in defense spending, the Defense Department's not even asking for, that's what they have to do. They have to raise your taxes, and they have to eviscerate the budget on things that make the middle class and the middle classes work for them. So instead of signing, here, I've got advice for them. I don't think they'll listen. Instead of signing a pledge, as all these guys have, to a guy named Grover Norquist, promising that you'll continue to cut taxes for the very wealthy, they should be signing a pledge to you, the middle class, saying we're going to level the playing field, saying we are going to give folks an even chance, saying we're going to get the middle class back in the game. That's the pledge they should sign. That's the pledge we made. That's why we're running. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we have laid out what we'll do. It's all here in our plan. And that sounds so trite to hold up a plan, but let me tell you a little bit what it is. First, in terms of creating jobs, we have a plan. We've already created 5.2 million jobs. We've already brought back the automobile industry. We've already brought back the steel industry coming back. People are back to work making a decent living. We can create a million. We want to keep that going. We want to create a million new manufacturing jobs, double our exports. Manufacturers can stamp, so manufacturers can stamp on their product, made in America, because that's what people around the world want to buy. As they say so. That's why Marcy, the President and I worked so hard to rescue the automobile industry. Right here in Ohio, more than 100,000 jobs directly supported by the Steel is coming back in Canton, Youngstown, Lorraine. And we're going to continue this momentum and help business double our exports. How are we going to do that? It's not real complicated, folks. We're going to give tax breaks to companies that stay here and come here, not those who go abroad. Second, we're going to develop homegrown energy. We've already cut our import. We already cut our oil imports to the lowest levels in 20 years. We're going to cut it in half, produce more American-made energy, like oil, coal, natural gas, clean coal, natural gas, new resources like solar, biofuel. We'll create 600,000 jobs in natural gas alone, and while doubling the fuel efficiency of our cars and trucks, which we've already done, we'll save $1.7 trillion at the gas pump over the next 10 years and 12 billion barrels of oil that we will not consume. We're going to also train the best workforce in the world. Education is the foundation of our world. Education is the foundation of how we remain dominant. The dominant economic power of the 21st century. Does anybody think in China and the rest of the world are eviscerating education? What do you think? Do you think they're trying to not help people get to school, for God's sake? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to recruit and prepare, hopefully some of you from this great university, 100,000 new math and science teachers. So Americans will graduate be prepared to compete for the jobs of the future. Train 2 million Americans at our community colleges for the jobs that are out there now. Cut the growth of tuition in half over the next decade and expand student loans, expand student aid, expand the ability to work study programs. We're going to reduce the deficit in a balanced way. We've already cut $1 trillion out of the deficit. We propose another $3 trillion over the next decade. Ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to ask for a balanced approach. Every outside group that suggested how to get the budget under control said you need to have both revenue and cuts. And it's about time the wealthy start paying a little more. Patriotic as poor people. But they haven't asked for these massive new tax cuts. They don't need them. And it's time for everybody to be in the deal. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, lastly, is we're going to make sure that, we continue to help people stay in their homes. Look, the real estate market is starting to come back. But we will use... We want to make sure that people get a chance to refinance. ladies and gentlemen, we're also going to, we're going to save over $800 billion over the next 10 years by keeping the commitment we made. We said we would end the war in Iraq, and we did, and we'll end the war in Afghanistan. We're going to use that money to help pay down our debt, then come home and begin to fix America. Build American roads, American schools, American highways, American ports. That's our plan. The problem is the plan is the same old thing. The first thing he said he'd do is shed the regulations on Wall Street. Let them go back to being a casino. Let the banks write their own rules again. $2 trillion in new tax cuts for the very wealthy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen that movie before, and we know how it ends. It ends in the catastrophe of the middle class. 9 million unemployed. $16 trillion in lost wealth. People watch the equity in their homes evaporate before their eyes, never having missed a mortgage payment. People out there all of a sudden find their 401ks and their retirement accounts just decimated. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time these guys did that, we got the Great Recession. The American people are not prepared to go back in. Unlike Romney and Ryan, the President and I do not think 47% of the people are unwilling to take personal responsibility. The middle class is all about one thing, taking responsibility. That's what people do. They do it every single solitary day. And let me tell them, Governor Romney knows 47% of the people are hard-working people. They pay their payroll taxes. They pay their property taxes. They pay their state taxes. They pay an effective higher rate than you pay, Governor. And that's who they're made up of. The rest of that 47% are made up of elderly people who work their whole life for their Social Security. Now that's all they have. They don't have to pay taxes on it, and they shouldn't have to pay taxes on it. And they're also like my son was in Iraq. There's 68,000 warriors right now as we speak in the mountains of Afghanistan. And guess what? They're being paid, but they're not paying taxes, and they shouldn't pay any taxes. They're contributing more than anybody else.